John Eats Cheap making some breakfast today. A little something Mrs. Cheap found. You found it was called like pancake
mix
quiche. I found another recipe called Bisquick quiche, and they're both kind of the same. It's eggs, Bisquick, some meat, cheese, and mix it all up. So you start off with 4 eggs. You got to whisk those up. Get them nice and whisked. And then we're going to add 2 cups of milk. It's going to be some good eggy goodness. Whisk that up. Going to add a little bit of salt. Just like a generous pinch. Not too much. And some pepper. Whisk that up a little bit. Then we're going to go in with 1 cup of Bisquick. And this is actually, I think, the Hy-Vee brand baking mix or whatever they call it. And whisk that in until it's smooth like a batter. We're going to do, you're supposed to put this in a 10-inch pie tin. We don't make many pies, and if we do, we just use the frozen crust, so our pie tins are all foil, and we don't have any. So I'm using a baking dish that's kind of flat and a little bit like an oval pie tin. Preheating the oven to 400. Trying to get that as smooth as we can. And I think we got it. So now we greased the baking dish and we want to put our meats. Got some ham left over. I don't even remember what we used this ham for.
Throwing it at
Diced
me.
it up for something. So we put some of that on the bottom.
Ooh, chicken cordon bleu dip.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Get some bacon. And we cooked up the bacon for some jalapeno popper dip, I believe.
This is a great brunch item.
Oh, yeah. Some onion, diced onion. I think the recipe calls for 1/3 of one, but of course that depends on how big your onion is. Now the cheese. Recipe I had called for 1/2 cup of Swiss cheese. I had some Swiss, not 1/2 cup. Quite, and so I added some cheddar to it.
But you could put vegetables or
Oh,
anything you like in
peppers, mushrooms, just quiche ingredients or egg casserole ingredients would certainly go well. All right, get that evened out. And let me grab a batter. And now our egg batter mixture goes over the top. Going to bake this for about 35 minutes at 400 degrees. So there we go, 35 minutes out of the oven. Just going to check a toothpick in the middle. Should come out clean, and it does. So it looks like it is done. Now we have to let it rest. It's kind of like a good steak. Let it rest for 15 minutes. All right, it's rested about 15 minutes. Let's give it a try. Now I will say, I followed one recipe. Mrs. Cheap had one that was just a little bit different. The one that she had, the finished product looked a lot better than this, I will say. So we may have to do a part 2 sometime coming up. And I really don't know how I'm going to cut this. I'm going to say just kind of like this. It looks like it could maybe be a little browner on top. But I put the toothpick in, and it was done. So I'm going to take a piece out of the middle here. Kind of like that. Well, it looks eggy and cheesy. That egg doesn't really look done, does it?
No,
I stuck the toothpick in. All right, well, that's a little soupy.
It's not good.
We're gonna go back into the oven, I guess. It's been sitting out for 15 minutes.
So the
I thought
biscuit
it
part's
did.
done, I guess.
All right. It should get browner on top. I should put that piece back in.
Isn't that hot, sweetie?
No, it's been resting for 15 minutes. So back in, little fella.
Good luck.
Let's get some more. All right, so trying this again. I went about 20 minutes more, 15 to 20 minutes. So now we'll see if we look a little better coming out of there. That looks better. Not as juicy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not done, I don't think.
All right, so it's a little eggy. It's kind of like a breakfast casserole. See if I can see everything in there. Yeah, it's more eggy on the bottom. Bisquicky on the top. It almost looks like I have potatoes in there, but I think that's the onion. It is steaming hot. Should have let it cool down a little bit more. That's good. It's an egg casserole. I want to make sure I get a little bit of the Bisquick here. See how that does? Good crunchy top. It could use some more salt and pepper. I'll say that. But it doesn't look as good as the one Mrs. Cheap found, so we may have to try that one next. But yeah, that's a good breakfast casserole, very filling. You just have to cook it longer than the instructions say. It takes much more than 35 minutes. And maybe that's because I didn't have a proper pie tin. Thanks for watching John Eats Cheap. Follow us on TikTok too, Facebook, Instagram, and give us a like, a share, and a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.